All right, we're on to lesson 1-4. So if you're watching this video, you should have already done the model and discuss in your workbook, page 13, with a partner or in a small group. And now you're going to follow along taking these notes on pages 14 and 15 of your workbook. Or you can get the information on pages 24 through 26 of the textbook. And before we move on, I forgot to put on the question numbers, but after the video, you'll do page 16, numbers 1 through 5, and then page 16, numbers 6 through 8. And make sure you're doing those in your workbook, but checking your answers on Savvas. So you should be entering Savvas. You should be entering your answers on Savvas to see if you're right. It will tell you if you're right or if you're wrong. So today we're going to rewrite and use literal equations. Literal equations are where there's all or mostly variables. And a good example of a literal equation are different types of formulas. Something like today we're going to do the distance formula. So distance equals rate times time. We're going to use that today. This is the model and discuss that you should have already done with the rectangle with a partner in a small group. And now we're going to start together on question number 1. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. We're skipping number 4. And I already have some notes for you to copy into your blue space of your workbook. And these are different symbols for multiplication. I think is really confusing for a lot of people. So you can represent multiplication many different ways. In formulas, a lot of times we use this first one. We just write two things next to each other, and that means multiply. 6x means 6 times x. X 6 times, right? But there's also, you could do 6 with the dot x, you could do 6 and x in parentheses, 6 star x, 6xx, those all mean multiplication. So just be aware of, do I know what operation is happening here? So we're going to see an example of that right now. So it says in question 1, beginning with the simple interest formula, I equals P RT, so that's P times R times T, what equation can Julieta use to calculate the principal amount P? So this is an equation for interest, I, right? Here there's, it tells you what these letters represent. And even though we don't really know what those mean, they're talking about money, I don't really know what they mean, we can still rewrite this equation to be for P. So right now, this equation is for I. We want to rewrite this equation to solve for P so that we have an equation. Our answer should be an equation for P. So we could do this the same way we solve for X. We're going to set up our equation with the line down the middle, and we're going to do things to both sides to get P by itself. So what does P have with it on the right side that we want to get rid of? It has an R and a T, and they're both multiplied with P. So let's do R first. We'll go one at a time just so that we really pay attention to the process. If I want to get rid of R and it's being multiplied, I'm going to divide. When I divide by R, those R's are going to cancel out. If I do it to the right, I have to do it to the left. So now I'll have I divided by R equals P times T. Again, I want to get rid of the T. The opposite of multiply is divide. T divided by T is 1. They cancel each other out, 1P. But then I have to divide by T on the other side. This is where it gets confusing. This is why I went step by step. If I divide something that's already being divided by T, I wouldn't do two fractions like this. Now instead, the I is just being divided by R and by T. I would just write them both in the denominator. So now I have P equals I divided by R times T. I've rewritten my equation so that now I can easily calculate for P instead of easily calculate for I. Easy as that. It's really easier than solving an equation because I don't have to do any of the adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing in between. I'm just doing the steps to rewrite the equation. So in example 2, we're going to do that same thing, but now we're going to use it to solve a problem. And so the equation, the formula that we're going to use for this is the one I mentioned before, D equals RT. But now we're going to calculate for R. So we want an equation for R, which is rate. So it says distance equals rate times time. So to get r by itself, we're going to solve this equation. R times t, so the opposite of multiply is divide. To get rid of that t, if I do it on the right, I have to do it on the left. Oh. And so now I have d over t equals r, right? So that's my equation for r, d divided by t. So we're going to use that right now. It says Sarah's going to the store. It's 2.5 miles away. MI is for miles. And she only has 15 minutes to get there. So at what average speed must she go to get to the store before they close? So my speed is a rate. That's a rate of change. At what rate is she changing her distance, right? So, and then I have my distance is 2.5 miles, and 15 is my time. So when I have my equation, r equals d over t, I'm just going to replace the letters d and t with my numbers that they represent, right? So I'm going to plug in 2.5 for d, and I'm going to plug in 15 for t. And let's see what I get. So r equals 2.5 divided by 15 equals, in my calculator, it is 0.166666666. Right, so 1, 6 repeating. And that would be miles per minute. Right, because on the top was miles and on the bottom was minutes. So my unit is miles per minute. If you want to stop right there and you want that to be your answer, that's totally fine. I don't love that answer just because I don't think miles per minute is super useful as a unit. I think that answer is fine for math class. I would rather have it be miles per hour, but that would mean then I need my time to be in hours. So I could do that if I wanted to change 15 minutes, right? 15 minutes out of 60 minutes in an hour, right, is 0.25. So it would be 0.25 hours. So that's how many hours. 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So if I did the same math again with my r, and I did r equals 2.5 divided by 0.25, I also get a nicer number. I don't know if that's a coincidence, but 2.5 divided by 0.25 in my calculator is 10. And it's in miles per hour. Miles per hour. So I love that answer. If you don't want to take the extra step, you don't have to. 10 miles an hour. So we rewrote our equation and we plugged in our numbers. We're going to do that one more time. And that's going to be for a triangle. So here it says, rewrite the formula for the area of a triangle, and it is A equals 1/2 times B times H. So it says find the height of the triangle. So that's what we're looking at. Find the height of the triangle when A is 18 inches squared and B is 9 inches. So we want to rewrite this to solve for H. We want a formula for H. And so we're going to solve for H. We're going to try to get H by itself. We're going to divide. Let's first do B. Get rid of that B. And so I have A over B equals 1/2 times H. So now I'm going to divide both sides by 1/2. And now again, I don't want to have two fractions. Those cancel out first on the right side. So I have H. And when I divide by a fraction, you actually multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal would be 2/1. So if you flip the denominator and the numerator. So then I would do 2 times A and 1 times B. That would be 2A over 1 times B is B. So why do I do that? Imagine if I had like 3, right? Those are supposed to be even. 3 divided by 1/2. How many times does 1/2 go into 3, right? Well, I could split 3 up into 6 halves, right? So that would be the same as if I did 3 times 2/1. 2 over 1 is the same as 2, right? 3 times 2 is 6. So when I'm splitting something up into a fraction, I should really get a bigger number. That's why it's the same as multiplying by the opposite, by the reciprocal. So when I divide it by 1/2, I could really just multiply by 2 over 1. I flip the sign, I change the sign, I switch the sign from divide to multiply, and I flip my fraction. So now I have my equation is h equals 2a divided by b, and I'm just gonna take it up here, I'm gonna plug in my numbers. So I have h equals 2 times a is 18, right above it, over b, which is 9. It said that in my question, right? 18 and 9, the ones that we highlighted. So h is 2 times 18. I'm doing PEMDAS now. It's 36 over 9. So h is 4. And I want to have a unit on it because it said find the height. So my area is in inches squared and my base is in inches. So my height should be also in inches. 4 inches is my height. So a lot of stuff in that one, plugging it in and also multiplying by the reciprocal, very important question. So take your time.